If you're in my videos, then I feel better. It's easier to process crappy films when you're around. It is. You make everything better. Okay, here you go. Hey guys, this is Alachi and this is my review for The Killer. The Killer is the latest David Fincher film that went straight to Netflix. It did have a tiny little window of release in theaters. I tried to go see it in the theater, but it had like one showing here in Austin and it was completely full and I couldn't get tickets. So I finally got a chance to watch it on Netflix, and I was looking at this film, saw the trailer, and it just read as like a film that was made for me. It's about a nihilistic assassin who is actually good at his job. I'm the target audience. This is the shit I live for. So I'm kind of questioning why it is that I didn't really enjoy this film. So let me go in and explain. I love me some David Fincher. I drink that cola, David Fincher cola all day long. 7, gunk, 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 you know, Gone Girl, gunk, 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 girl with the dragon tattoo, gunk, 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 gunk. I'll just drink that stuff all. I love it. And then I got to Mank, and I was like, what is this? No, this is, I'm not liking this. And now I'm like, I get to The Killer, and I like crack it open. I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm ready for that, refreshing like gulp. And then it's just like, there's nothing here. What the hell? And then you like look, and it's like, it says David Fincher, but then you turn it around and you're like, oh, it's actually just content. Yeah, that is what it feels like. All of the other films that I have really enjoyed, Zodiac, they all have this amazing flavor that just is so palatable and just so delicious. And the way that they're packaged and presented just feels fully fleshed out, and you really dig deep, and it gets underneath your fingernails. That's the feeling of a David Fincher film, like dirt underneath your fingernails, like really in there, like you can't scrub it out. I love it. But this just felt empty, so freaking empty. This is a film that follows a killer, the killer, played by Michael Fassbender, as he is on a job waiting for his mark to show up. And it just opens with this kind of cold, calculating character who is giving you, for the first 20 minutes of the film, an inner monologue about his methodologies, his views of the world, his views on his job. And I just kept getting this idea of, this is Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Had he given up his Wall Street corporate job in the 80s to become an assassin for hire? He has that same level of psychopathy, that exploration of a character who's completely devoid of empathy and how flimsy and hollow they are inside. And the thing that made American Psycho work was that the satire was shown by having Patrick Bateman in contrast to the social commentary, which was the 80s Wall Street culture. And in this case, there's nothing for the killer to play off of. There is no satire. The satire is that he just exists and it's meh. That's it. There's no world for him to play off of, so that his worldview is just as empty as all the words coming out of his head that you don't really grasp onto, because you don't understand, what is this world he's commenting on? We don't know. We don't get to see it. He's just mechanically doing things. I mean, he is giving all of these inner monologues about his process and the way he thinks about doing things, but I swear to God, it could be about anything. It could be an Uber driver talking. It could be a window washer. It just is so generic. The action sequences are fine. Everything's good. He is the perfect killer, which I really like. Yes, he does make some mistakes, but nothing goes perfectly in the world, but he maintains his resolve and that he's just completely consistent. And by the end of it, the mission is complete and you just feel like, what was the point of this? There was no grit. There's no dirt underneath my nails. Like, I feel nothing, just like the character. And then I realized, I was looking it up, about why was this movie made? Who wrote this? Why would you write this? What is this even? What was the point of this film? And then I found out it's actually based off of a French comic book written by Alexis Nolent and illustrated by Luc Jacquemont. And then it was adapted by screenplay by Andrew Walter. And it just made so much more sense. And I was like looking at this comic book and I was like, oh, okay, this is just Gen X nihilistic drivel completely spewed over 700 pages of this assassin just doing his job at making all these commentaries. And it totally makes sense in a comic book form. It just didn't translate into film form very well, because when you are trying to, absorb all of the visual elements of an assassin doing their job, you are invested in that action, right? That action of the killer, adjusting his scope, putting together, the silencer, getting everything on target, scoping everything out. You are invested in the actions of the killer, not the thoughts of the killer at the time, right? Because that's the way your brain is trained when you actually have the visual element. Whereas in a comic book form, the visual element is just like the background for the words. And it reads better that way. And so as you're reading the words, you skip over all the action elements in the comic book strip, right? You don't go and watch every piece by piece of a step of what he's doing. You're seeing sparse clips of where he's at any particular point in space, but his thoughts are flowing. And totally works in comic book form. This is something I was like, I think I need to pick up this comic book so that I can read the full story in its concentrated format, because I feel like what we got was the watered down Netflix content version, and I have a feeling it actually plays out in a much more interesting way because it was meant to be told in comic book form, whereas it doesn't really translate that well into film form. I'm going to give The Killer a C-. This was a very disappointing David Fincher film for me. I think he did the best he could with the material he was given, but like I said, I just don't think it works for film. All right, guys, let me know what you guys thought about The Killer, if you've seen it, or have you read the comic books? Is it actually really good? Does it go anywhere, or does it just kind of just hit that same nihilistic note over and over again for 700 pages? I'm curious. I guess I'll find out. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. And if you'd like to watch more, you can click right here or right here to watch more now. Until next time, see you on the flip side.